Hello, my name is Maman Tafail. I'm an assistant professor at University of Singar campus, Badin. In today's session, we will talk about that what is criticism and what is the role of criticism in the study of literature, and who is a critic, and how this literature is guided by the work of criticism. Because when we talk about literature, that literature is a study of human life. Literature guides us, literature inspires us, literature leads us, literature delights us, teaches us, inspires us, and multiple functions what the literature does. At the same time, this literature is also guided by a subject what we call criticism. When we say that literature came into existence, its main job was that two things what basically are being considered, that delight and guide. Okay, the main job of literature is to guide, and the second is to delight. It gives you moral values. It teaches you how life should be lived. It teaches you that what's right. It teaches you how things are being presented. It teaches you how things are being misguided. It teaches you that how things are being taken into consideration, and what is right about that. So when we talk about this literature, then there comes criticism to guide the course of literature. Whenever any work is produced, whenever any literary piece, a work of creative art is produced, then criticism is the study of that literary works. It helps to analyze that literary works, to evaluate that literary works, to explain that work, and to determine its importance, its significance, its value, to what extent it is important in our life, okay, and what role it is going to play. So in today's session, this class is recorded for the students of part 1 who have chosen English literature as their one of the major subjects. So here we would talk about the basic concepts of criticism for the students of BS English Part 1. So now see what is basically criticism. Okay, you know that the criticism is now what is criticism, and what is the definition of literary criticism. What are the two main functions of criticism, uses and abuses of criticism, and function of criticism? Who is a critic? In today's session, we would cover these basics of criticism. Now, look at that. Okay, whenever we talk about criticism, this is a general term. When we say that this is a criticism, uh, generally the idea which comes into the mind of people, that is to somehow disapproval. Okay, disapproval in a sense that when we talk about that the expression of disapproval of someone or something on the basis of perceived fault or mistakes. Okay, so generally when we talk about this word criticism, people think that we are talking something means it is not taken as a positive, but generally this term is being taken as a negative. We say that when you mean that to criticize somebody, तो आपको ऐसा लगता है कि जैसे कोई आपके नुक्ताचीनी कर रहा है, कोई आपकी खामियां गलतियां निकाल रहा है. इस तरह का जो है वो कंसेप्ट क्रिटिसिज्म से हम लेते हैं. बट व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट लिटरेरी क्रिटिसिज्म, it is not like that sense to pick the whole कि सिर्फ खामियां ढूंढना, टू फाइंड फॉल्ट विद एनी लिटरेरी वर्क. ओके, कि किसी काम के अंदर जो है ना सिर्फ उसकी खामियां या बुराइयां ढूंढना, दैट इज नॉट द जॉब ऑफ लिटरेरी क्रिटिसिज्म. द जॉब ऑफ लिटरेरी क्रिटिसिज्म इज द इवैल्यूएशन, एनालिसिस, डिस्क्रिप्शन एंड इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ लिटरेरी वर्क्स. ओके, जो भी वर्क प्रोड्यूस हुआ है उसी को इवैल्यूएट करना, उसी का एनालाइज तज्जिया करना, उसी को डिस्क्राइब करना या उसी की इंटरप्रिटेशंस करना. व्हाई? Because literature is a biography of life. Literature is advocate of advocacy to life. Okay, our literature comes to become the representative of human life. Okay, so when we say that it's representative of human life, you know that life itself is not as simple. Okay, so is the literature. When the life is full of complexities and problems and issues, same thing happens with literature as well, and literature is also full of these complexities. And then the job of critic basically is that to make it understandable, to simplify it, so that we could understand it more comprehensively. And if there are some positivities in that literary work, that must come on the surface. And if there are some um, bottlenecks or some flaws or some fault or some gray areas, then again the job of criticism is that to highlight those gray areas so that the writer could improve it in the next session or in his next work. So, for the just to bring a type of improvement in this work. Okay, when we move forward, okay, to evaluate and scrutinize any piece of art, okay, such as a poem and a drama and novel or a story, you know that literature has a different genres. It's poetry, it's a drama, it's novel, etc. So whatever the piece of work is there, may it be poetry, may it be novel, may it be drama, but the job of criticism is that to evaluate it, to scrutinize it, that work. First, it would analyze, then evaluate and scrutinize that work. It would tell us that what is the good in that work, what are the values inculcated to that piece of work, and what are the gray areas if there are. So basically, literary criticism means to condone the good and to condemn the gray areas. Okay, कि जो अच्छाइयाँ हैं उसकी भी को पॉइंट आउट करना, और जो उसी वर्क के अंदर ग्रे एरियाज है, खामियां हैं, उनको भी पॉइंट आउट करना, नॉट फॉर द सेक ऑफ टू जस्ट पिक होल्स, इसलिए नहीं कि अगले बंदे को जो ना वो डिग्रेड करने के लिए या उसी की इंसल्ट करने के लिए. दैट्स नॉट अ जॉब ऑफ लिटरेरी क्रिटिसिज्म. Though somehow it goes in the practice, okay, the people on their personal grudges, personal bias and prejudice, okay, they go with that type of attitude and they turn, they claim to be literary critic, but it isn't the job of criticism to just degrade or insult any piece of work or the producer of that work, creator, but the actual job is that to highlight that what is good and what are the gray areas so that it could be improved. Okay, so it is as old as a human being, you know. Whenever any action is being done in the world, okay, definitely there comes a critic to talk on that action, okay, to take this action positive, whether that action is a positive, whether it's a collaborative, whether it's a collaborative, whether it's a productive for humanity, whether it's going to bring a positive change in human life, whether it is done with the purpose for the positivity of this life. But on the contrary, when we talk about, when we have this whether that work has certain problem which could maybe in a future course of that. So when we have a poem and we see it thoroughly via all the angles, that is find out its theme. थीम से मुराद है उसमें मैसेज राइटर क्या दे रहा है. डिक्शन से मुराद है उसमें जो इस्तेमाल होने वाली लैंग्वेज है. लिटरेरी डिवाइसेस, व्हाट अ फिगर ऑफ स्पीच द राइटर इज यूजिंग इन दिस पोएट्री. उसने सिमिलीज कौन सी यूज की, मेटाफर्स कौन से यूज किए, एलिटेशंस कहाँ पे इस्तेमाल हुई है, और उसने जो है वो ऑक्सीमोन अगर यूज किया है तो कैसे यूज किया है, उसने जो ना वो मेटानॉमी को अगर यूज किया है तो कैसे यूज किया है, पैथेटिक फैलेसी को उसने किस तरीके से यूज किया है, पर्सोनिफिकेशन को उसने किस तरीके से यूज किया है. तो मुख्तलिफ लिटरेरी डिवाइसेस व्हाट द राइटर हैज यूज्ड, वी कुड आल्सो टेक देम and understand them. Okay, so then we have this type of things, we have this type of things what we could use like this. Then we move forward to this session. Okay, it helps us to understand the nature of work and the notion behind it. कि जो आप literature आपको मदद कर रहा है कि आप जो वर्क पढ़ रहे हैं, what is its nature, okay, what happened, what is the notion, what is the message, what is the theme, what idea is being tried to communicate through this. So criticism in literature helps us to explore new trends, emerging fields, theories and practices in literary writings. Okay, it also helps us that how the literature is going to upgrade itself with the ongoing course of the life, because it claims to be the representative of life. So life is subject to change. Okay, we on daily basis we are exposed to various changes. Okay, and these changes, they are directly connected with our life, and these changes are going to change uh, our life, then definitely they are supposed to affect the creative literature as well. Okay, so this is not the one-way traffic. Okay, neither the literature nor the life. Okay, they affect each other. Okay, this is a reciprocity that goes in both. Okay, so criticism again tries to understand that to what extent the literature is going to keep pace with these emerging fields and whatever the new theories and how it is going to face with that thing. Okay. So when we move forward, okay, look at that definition of literary criticism. Okay, literary criticism is the evaluation, analysis, descriptions, and interpretations of literary work. This is scientific investigations of literary documents about its origin, taste, genre, style, compositions, and history, and it helps us like that. Okay, so we do this work, okay, to analyze, to form the general principles for the examinations of literary works, okay. But again, there comes a point that where is the use and abuse of literature, okay. When we talk about this use and abuse of literature, we have this means if you use this literature positively, in a sense that you are going to guide, to inspire, to lead, to analyze that literary works positively, properly, critically, you are simply going to abuse of criticism would be that on the personal good or personal basis, if anybody is going to find unnecessary fault in the creative work, or to just to derail any particular work, or to malign creativity of any writer just on personal prejudice in person. So this is really the problem. Okay, कोई ऐसी किताब जो इस तरह की महान नहीं है, लेकिन हम बिला सबब या मेरे उस जाती ताल्लुकात की बुनियाद पर मैं उस किताब के बारे में बड़ी चीज़ें बढ़ा चढ़ाकर पेश करूँ कि ये किताब ऐसी है, ये इंसान की तकदीर को तब्दील करके रख देने वाली बुक, इस तरह की चीज़ें, या कभी कभार बहुत अच्छी किताब हो महज अपनी जाती अना की बुनियाद पर उसको रिजेक्ट करना, so that is really problematic in a criticism. Okay, so use it is that when we use this field scientifically, objectively, not subjectively, but objectively, and analytically, intellectually. But when we become personal, we become subjective, we become biased, we become prejudiced, then what happens? This is called to be the abuse of literature. Okay. So in abuse is that, okay, when we only we ignore the positive aspects of any writers, okay, and we highlight the negative aspects. When you are subjective, you are biased, you are prejudicial, or you are personal, that will be called abuse of criticism. Okay, so the job of a critic is not that, okay, to find faults and only to point out mistakes like that thing, okay, are unnecessary to derail or undermine the creativity or creative work of any writer. That is a highly abuse of criticism. Okay, when we talk about the uses of criticism, this is a chief function of criticism is to enlighten and stimulate. Okay, how to enlighten? Okay, that a common reader may not have that type of a grip over the subject. Okay, a common reader may not be familiar with the ongoing theories and the trends with the literary work is being produced, it is being resonated with. So again, critic, is the person who's in the field, who knows that what is in the vogue, what is in fashion, what trends are going on. So on that basis, it gives that critic. I don't mean that a kind of final authority, but academically he has this advantage that he could stimulate, he could enlighten the reader and could add something to this work, right? To analyze it, to interpret it, to highlight the qualities of that work, and to point out what are the missing links and areas of improvement. That's very important. Why? Because nothing is a perfect. Okay, whatever the work, whatever the book, whatever the poem, whatever the drama, whatever the play, whatever the thing is produced on the work, it has certain areas. There are certain missing links. Okay, and the responsibility of a good critic is that that who's a critic. That's very main thing. Okay, we can't say that everybody is a critic. Okay, but the person who has good knowledge of that field. Okay, who keeps an authority in that particular field and who has a good deal of expertise and he has rigorous knowledge of that particular field, then he could be named or he could be labeled as a critic of that particular field. So, therefore, he's able to find out what are the missing links in that work and how it could be improved. Okay. Then look at that. Okay, appreciate the unique and remarkable and distinguished features of this literary work. Okay. You also remember that every writer comes up with something quite unique. Okay, something that is a remarkable art, that is a different, that's a distinguished. Okay, and that all writers are not the same. Okay, there are certain things which makes one writer different from the other writers. Okay, on the basis when the one writer is different than the other writer, that is only because of this specialty. That specialty goes with a particular author, and that specialty is important here. And again, a good critic points out that how this work is distinguished, how this work is unique or different, and that distinctive skills or this distinctiveness is pointed out by a good critic, and this turns to become a wonderful addition into the field of criticism. Okay, so the critic is an interpreter. This is inductive method. Okay, and the critic is a judicial method. Okay, we have been using two ways. Okay, there are different methods to criticize, and when we you this is only for part one students, so we are just going to talk about the basics of this field of criticism. But when we enter into that in-depth studies of criticism, when you would come into BS English Part 4, then there is a specific subject, what we call literary criticism, that deals with the history of English literature right from BC's, from Aristotle and Longinus or Longinus. Then we have Sydney, we have this Dryden, we have Dr. Johnson, we have Alexander Pope, then we have William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and Matthew Arnold, then T.S. Eliot, and onward. Then this different writers, what we study in the historical perspective. Then we enter into the age of theories, when we come in the 20th century, because 20th century is the age of theories. Here the literature is being interpreted with the help of theories, and these theories are a bit weird. And then we stop studying literature with the help of canons, canonization, which goes on up to the end of 19th century. But in the 20th century, after the 20th century, we start towards this age of theories. Okay, so but at this level we only talk about that how this literature, what is the two basic methods what Hudson takes in his work is a judicial method and inductive method. Okay, Hudson believes that the inductive method is a method. Okay, here the critic doesn't go with the traditional ways, traditional established pattern of judging any work of literature, but here the critic is independent, and he independently conducts his inquiry and he finds something new. So means now when somebody looks any work of literature by implying judicial method, then he takes certain fixed criteria. There are fixed criteria, there are certain touchstones, there are certain established rules, there are certain canons, and he is going to judge that piece of work against those established rules. But being an inductive critic, okay, they are new. Okay, so judicial criticism attempts to analyze and explain those effects through the basic forms of dissection, subjects, style, organizations, techniques. Okay, means these things what we have already established in the studies of literature, and how the subject is being dealt with, what is the style of writer. Then again, we have established rules for these styles and etc. and organizations of the material. What are rules of organizations and what techniques he has implied. Okay, so if any writer is going to criticize or is going to analyze or evaluate the piece of work on the basis of this, we would call it the section, we would call it judicial method. Okay, but if any writer, if any critic who criticize a work without following these established norms, and he just goes to that work as independent critic without being preoccupied with certain established rules, and his contact with that work, whatever things he comes across, and he analyze and interpret that new things, and this is called inductive method. Okay, so you look at that, inductive criticism discards set rules. Okay, what are these set rules? पहले से जो तयशुदा कानून है जिसके मुताबिक आप किसी वर्क को जज करने जा रहे हैं, they are not going to follow these set rules and principles in judging works of literature. Inductive critic approaches literature in the spirit of pure investigation. Why we call it a pure investigation? The reason is that here the critic is not preoccupied with certain rules. Okay, yeah. No, he is going to contact that work, inquire that work independently, without any preoccupation, without any preconceived or established rules, and he is an independent critic, investigator, and he investigates that work. Then whatever he comes in contact with that work, okay, he analyzes it on that basis. Okay, so he asserted that it is the duty of the critic to know the best that has been thought and said both in ancient and modern literatures. Okay, so this thing is what the traditional literature, traditional or judicial method has been using. Okay, they don't follow these things, that something good is already established, and because good is a permanent, such things are permanent. But when we come in the latest theories, we understand that nothing is a permanent. Even the truth is not permanent. Everything is a relative, okay, and it keeps changing. So something that might have been established to be truth, or something might have been established as right in the past, not necessarily it should be right today. So inductive method is independent inquiry and investigation, and it doesn't follow the set rules, and it criticizes, or it goes to any piece of work with independent lens on the part of the critic, and he comes to with that understanding. Okay. So this is what was on the basis of criticism, but it is not sufficient that only that thing could be, but we can also deal with this. There are other things what we can take granted, and we can understand this field. Okay, let me share and other documents with you. Now look at this, okay. These are the means when we talk about this criticism, okay. These are the different theories which have been discussed in this sense, and so this literature has been given. See, we have a different type of criticism. We have a moral criticism, dramatic constructions. Okay, it started from 160 BC, and it's up to present. This moral criticism is going on. As I mentioned, that from basic study of criticism, we go towards advanced studies. Okay, then we went to formalism and a new criticism, or new Aristotelian criticism. This criticism was different than the previous criticism, because here we thought that the work itself is objective, and when we want to analyze any work, we don't need to go to the autobiographical or historical or social elements of the age in which the literature is produced. Okay, एट द फर्स्ट अप्रोच वाज दैट आप जिस भी राइटर को शुरू में हम पढ़ते थे तो हम ये समझते थे कि वर्क को उसी दौर के तारीखी, समाजी, मुआशी, नफ्सियाती पस मंजर, उसके साथ जो राइटर है, इस राइटर की अपनी जिंदगी, उसके जिंदगी में होने वाले हादसा तो वाक़यात, इन तमाम तनाज़र में उस किताब को या वर्क को जो है ना वो एनालाइज किया जाए, क्योंकि ये वर्क उन तमाम चीज़ों की पैदावार है. सो इनिशियली we took autobiographical elements, social element, social, political, economic, psychological conditions of that era and period in which that work was produced. Okay, that was considered important before criticizing any piece of work. Okay, but when we enter to in this field of formalism and new criticism, they were of the opinion that literature itself is independent piece of work. It doesn't need to be interpreted with this historical and autobiographical components of the writer, but it should be dealt as an independent work. Okay, and you don't go to the autobiography of that writer, you don't study the socio-political conditions and economic, religious and other conditions of that age. You directly go to the work. Whatever is in the work itself is independent, and it is a complete, it's an entity. And this is what also the structuralist writers, they say that we have to see the structure, whatever the structure is that like we have to go. Then there was a psychoanalytical criticism. Okay, this looks at the literature from psychological point of view. Because you know that after psychological theories propounded by Sigmund Freud, these theories they have left remarkable and huge impact on our life and on every field of human life, and literature is not exempted to it, okay? And literature has also been equally affected or impacted by these theories, and psychoanalytical theories try to analyze the literature with the help of this psychoanalytical criticism. And here we see that what is the psychological situation of that work, and how our subconscious that is going to impact that work, the creativity and the analysis on the part of the critic and the response on the part of a reader. So that all is looked from the lens of the psychology or psychoanalysis, and this is another side and approach of literature. Then we came to this Marxist criticism. Marxist criticism, it criticized the works from Marxist theories point of view, that the difference between the haves and the have-nots, and this capital class and this labor class, how this surplus pool has made some people rich and others poor. So the disparity in the society is not based on certain natural reasons, but it is historical, it is society, social, it is the product of the society, it's the product of the culture, and how literature is going to represent this disparity between rich and poor, and what solution literature is going to produce and present human life, and how what is the reconciliatory approach on the part of a literature in order to bridge up this disparity or gap between the haves and have-nots and the rich and the poor. So Marxist criticism looks literature from that particular angle, and it looks that how literature is going to deal with this historical disparity between rich and poor. Okay, so is the case with the reader response. Okay, here we started to when we moved from this. Basic studies and we came to this advanced theories, then we came to know that even this psychological theories also say that this truth or the reality or the structure or the fact which is being understood by individual is important. It doesn't mean that what a writer wants to convey, but it is important what a reader is understanding. So whatever is being written in a critical in a work, creative work, it is there, but the way a reader understands it is something different, something important. So it depends that how the reader. So here the literature is not the one way. Previously it was only one way, that whatever the writer has intended to convey to that critical work, we have to understand it only. But when we talk about this reader response criticism, we mean that no meaning or that message would be determined on the part of the reader. So what the reader understands out of that work is equally important. Here we talk about that reader response criticism. Structuralism, these theories they talked about that everything is a structure and everything is work. Okay, everything has its own meaning, and whatever the meaning is, that it is just limited to that particular structure. So they previously we said that the word is the meaning. Okay, so the word that was a simple symbol of a particular meaning. Okay, but now structuralists, okay, they don't believe. They say that no, this is not okay. Means whatever the word is, that is basically is a signifier, and the meaning or the is the message it represents to, that is a signified. Okay, so the signifier and the signified, okay, these all words they are signs, they are symbol are like a sign, but these signs they are a signifier and then they are signified. Okay, तो इनका कहना यह था कि जो सिग्निफायर है वो तो कांस्टेंट रहता है, लेकिन जिस चीज को ये सिग्निफाई करते हैं द सिग्निफाइड वो चेंज होता रहता है। इसके लिए हर दौर में वो वर्ड जो है ना अपना एक जो है ना वो सेंस, अपना एक मतलब, अपना एक मफहूम देता है। इसके लिए जो पहले हम वर्क को समझते थे कि जो है ना जिस तरह हम उसको समझते थे कि ये जो है ना वो पोइम जो है या पोइट्री जो थी, जो पोइम थी जिसको हम एक कंप्लीट जो है ना वो जो है ना उनको कनेक्ट करके राइटर्स के साथ उसको पढ़ने की कोशिश करते थे। यहाँ पे हम उसको एज ए कंप्लीट ऑब्जेक्ट के तौर पे ट्रीट करते हैं। नाउ इसमें जो पोएम है दैट इज एन ऑब्जेक्ट, ओके, एंड वी विल लुक एट ऑब्जेक्टिवली, और वो किस चीज को सिग्निफाई कर रहा है। वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस थिंग, ओके। सो हियर एवरीथिंग वाज टेकन इन अ बाइनरी, कि हर चीज की को बाइनरी में अंडरस्टैंड करने की जो है ना वो कोशिश स्ट्रक्चरलिज्म में की गई। तो दिस sort of approach, okay, semiotics came into this place. Semiotics is that how these signs, okay, तो ये जो साइन है वो किसको रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं या जिसको सिग्निफाई कर रहे हैं। सो द साइन, the signifier and the signified, okay, that is called study of semiotics, okay, and we started to literature. Then came the post-structural theories, okay. The post-structural also denied that thing is structuralism and the deconstruction, okay. There's a big problem with the post-structuralism, because in the post-structuralism जब हम इसको लिटरेरी स्टडीज में देखते हैं तो हम इसको पोस्ट स्ट्रक्चरलिज्म के कंसेप्ट में देखते हैं, और जब इसको सोसाइटी के कंसेप्ट में हम देखते हैं तो फिर हम इसको पोस्ट मॉडर्निज्म के सेंस में देखने की कोशिश करते हैं। लेकिन इन दोनों में प्रॉब्लम ये है कि पोस्ट स्ट्रक्चरल थ्योरीज कहती है कि एवरीथिंग इज ट्रू, ट्रू सच भी रिलेटिव है। दुनिया में हर चीज सही है, मैं भी सही हूँ, आप भी सही है, और ये जो आपने कहा है पढ़ना चाहिए ये भी सही बात है, नहीं पढ़ना चाहिए ये भी सही बात है, ये भी एक हिसाब से। तो इनका जो मामला है बेसिकली असल में ये जो स्ट्रक्चरलिस्ट, पोस्ट स्ट्रक्चरलिस्ट जो निकले तो थे कि इस स्ट्रक्चर को तबाह करने के लिए, क्योंकि स्ट्रक्चर से इनकी मुराद ये थी, इनका कहना ये था कि जी देखिए दुनिया में जो कुछ भी लोगों को बताया जाता है, सुनाया जाता है, समझाया जाता है या यकीन करवाया जाता है, ये सब जो चीजें हैं वो बुनियादी तौर पे जो इवन जो एक डिक्टेटर भी जब लोगों को अपने काबू में लेता है तो वो उस लैंग्वेज का इस्तेमाल करता है, और लैंग्वेज बुनियादी तौर पे एक स्ट्रक्चर है। ये जो स्ट्रक्चर जो है यही इस इंसान को एक हवाले से कैद किए हुआ है, और इंसान को उससे हम आज़ादी तब दिला सकते हैं जब इंसान को इन स्ट्रक्चर्स की कैद-ओ-बंद से आज़ाद करवाया जाए। तो ये जो स्ट्रक्चरलिस्ट उनकी जो के खिलाफ जो पोस्ट स्ट्रक्चरलिस्ट निकले तो यूँ थे कि वो इन तमाम चीज़ों को जो जो एक स्ट्रक्चर है, जो एक नॉर्म्स है, जो एक किस्म की ट्रेडिशंस हैं, जो जिसमें गरीब इंसान को, लाचार इंसान को उसी में कैद-ओ-बंद में रखा गया है, इससे हम इसको निजात दिलाएँ। लेकिन आगे चल के हुआ ये कि जो बाकी जो भी सोसाइटल जो डिस्पैरिटीज थी, जो इकोनॉमिक जो स्ट्रक्चर थी, जो अपना अथॉरिटेरियन स्ट्रक्चर्स थे, उनको तो ये नहीं तोड़ सके। लेकिन एक चीज थी कि लैंग्वेज को इन्होंने ऐसे पेश कर दिया कि गोया के लैंग्वेज की कोई मतलब नहीं, जो आप कह रहे हैं वो भी सही है, जो मैं कह रहा हूँ वो भी सही है, जो गरीबों को हक मिलता है ये भी सही है, अगर कोई नहीं देता तो वो उसकी अपनी राय है, वो भी सही है। तो इससे फिर दुनिया के अंदर एक अजीब किस्म की जो है ना वो अप्रोच शुरू हुई कि हर चीज सही है। बट दिस इज नॉट द फैक्ट, ओके, because we believe that literature for the sake of life, not the literature for the sake of art. So there, these are the issues, okay, and we will take up these questions in the post-structuralist studies of literature and deconstruction. Deconstructions फिर ये जो है ना वो है जो किस हवाले से एक थ्योरी जो मौजूदा दौर में कहते हैं जिसको बहुत ज्यादा परमानेंस है, वो डिकंस्ट्रक्ट से मुराद है किसी भी चीज को जब आपने समझना है तो उसको दोबारा डिकंस्ट्रक्ट करें, खोलें, तो आपको पता चलेगा कि उसके अंदर क्या है। तो ये डिकंस्ट्रक्शन जो अप्रोच है, यही एक अप्रोच है जिसको हम समझते हैं कि जो हर दौर में रहेगी, क्योंकि कोई भी चीज जो कंस्ट्रक्टेड हुई है किस तरीके से हुई है, जब उसको आप मजीद समझना चाहते हैं, अब ये डिक्टेटरशिप कैसे कंस्ट्रक्ट हुई है जब इसको आप डिकंस्ट्रक्ट करेंगे, कैपिटल क्लास कैसे कंस्ट्रक्ट हुआ है जब आप इसको डिकंस्ट्रक्ट करेंगे, सोसाइटी के अंदर गलत चीजें कैसे जो है एस्टेब्लिश हो गई है जब आप इन तमाम चीजों को डिकंस्ट्रक्ट करेंगे। तो डिकंस्ट्रक्शन एक ऐसी जबरदस्त जो है ना वो थियरी है, ये ऐसा जबरदस्त रवैया है चीजों की तरफ देखने में। मिसाल के तौर पे मैं कह रहा हूँ कि मैं आपको क्रिटिसिज्म पढ़ा रहा हूँ, और जो ना तो ये मेरा कहना है, इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। आप इस पूरे लेक्चर को डिकंस्ट्रक्ट करें कि आया इसमें क्रिटिसिज्म से रिलेटेड कोई चीज है कोई कोई उसमें रिलेटेड कोई कंपोनेंट है? इफ देयर इज अ component like that, I think this would help you to understand that how this is whether that is criticism or not. Okay, so in that thing, and then new historicism, that is also a theory. और इसका मतलब जो ना वो ये है कि जो हिस्ट्री है वो भी एक इंटरप्रिटेशन है एक राइटर के बारे में। दैट इज नॉट अ सब्जेक्ट, दैट्स नॉट ऑब्जेक्टिव, बल्कि वो भी एक राइटर ने लिखी है, वो उसका सब्जेक्टिव रिस्पॉन्स है दैट थिंग। और जो राइटर है वो जो हिस्ट्री को लिख रहा है वो भी उसका एक सब्जेक्टिव जो है ना वो रिस्पॉन्ड है टू हिस्ट्री। तो जिस लिटरेचर किस तरीके से इस हिस्ट्री को उसमें रिस्पॉन्ड करा है, लेकिन इस तरह नहीं जिस तरह हम ट्रेडिशनल वे में हिस्टोरिकल फैक्ट्स फिगर्स को या हिस्टोरिकल कंडीशंस को देखते थे कि किस तरीके से वो लिटरेचर को प्रेजेंट करा है। लेकिन हिस्टोरिसिज्म कहते हैं कि किस तरीके से लिटरेचर जो है ना वो उस पर असरअंदाज हो रहा है, और किस तरीके से राइटर उस हिस्ट्री पे असरअंदाज हो रहा है, कैसे हिस्ट्री राइटर पे असरअंदाज हो रही है, कैसे लिटरेचर हिस्ट्री पे असरअंदाज हो रहा है, कैसे हिस्ट्री लिटरेचर पे असरअंदाज हो रही है। तो ये जो चीजें हैं दैट विल लीड अस टुवर्ड्स दिस अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ न्यू हिस्टोरिसिज्म। बट दिस these are very critical theories, and we have to take them individually in our final year and that comprehensive studies. Then we come to post-colonial criticism. Post-colonial criticism ये कहता है कि जहां जहां भी देखें ना, अब क्या हुआ कि अंग्रेज शुरू में तो अंग्रेज डार्क एजेस में था, 15 सदी तक तो वो अंधेरे की दुनिया में था। उसके बाद उसके पास रेनेसां की मूवमेंट आई, उनके पास तालीम और इल्म की शुरुआत हुई, किताबें उनके पास तर्जमा हुए, और उनके पास प्रिंटिंग प्रेस आई। फिर वो आस्ता आस्ता, पहले तो चर्च डोमिनेंट था, फिर चर्च से उन्होंने निजात पाई, वहां से इंटेलेक्चुअल लोग आगे आए, उनको मारा गया और रोका गया। बहरहाल उस दौर से गुजर कर वो साइंस में दाखिल हुए। साइंस के बाद उन्होंने जो है ना वो एक दो चीजें उनके पास, एक तो लोहा उनके पास ज्यादा पहले से मौजूद था, ऊपर से उन्होंने जो है ना वो मशीन बना ली, और इस मशीन से उनको यह बेनिफिट हुआ कि वो उन्होंने शिप्स बनाए, और शिप से जो उन्होंने शिप का इस्तेमाल करते हुए वो दुनिया में निकल गए। फिर आस्ता आस्ता उन्होंने दुनिया को कॉलोनाइज करना शुरू किया। इस तरीके से पूरी दुनिया के अंदर यूरोपियन कौमों ने अपनी कॉलोनीज बना ली, और 1921 में दुनिया का 81% जो था वो अंग्रेज कौमों की कॉलोनी बन चुका था, जिसमें फ्रेंच थे, जिसमें ब्रिटिश वाले थे, जिसमें आयरिश थे, जिसमें पोलैंड था, जिसमें ऑस्ट्रिया था, जिसमें हंगरी था, जिसमें जर्मन था। ये तमाम जो ना वो डच थे, पोर्चुगीज थे। तो ये सब ने, इन्होंने यूरोपियन ने इस पूरी दुनिया को जो है टुकड़े टुकड़े करके और उस पर अपनी हुकूमतें कायम कर रखी थी। इस दौर को हम कलोनाइजेशन का पीरियड कहते हैं। आप देखें कि मैंने कहा जो है 81% के करीब जो है पूरी दुनिया इनकी कलोनाइज हो चुकी थी। 168 कॉलोनीज थी उस जमाने में। फिर आस्ता आस्ता लोगों ने अपने आप को इनकी कॉलोनी से आज़ाद कराना शुरू किया। तो पोस्ट कॉलोनियल से मुराद है कि वो कॉलोनीज जो इनकी कॉलोनीज रही, और जब ये गए तो उसके बाद वहाँ पे जो पोस्ट मीन्स बाद में जो वहाँ पे लिटरेचर लिखा गया, या वहाँ के लोगों ने किस तरीके से इस पूरे एक्सपीरियंस को शेयर करने की कोशिश की, दैट्स व्हाट इज पोस्ट कॉलोनियलिज्म। हुआ क्या कि जो अंग्रेज थे उन्होंने, जब तक अंग्रेज या जो भी कॉलोनियल जहाँ बैठा था, फ्रेंच था, डच था, पोर्टुगीज था, जहाँ भी कोई बैठा था, उसने अपने तौर पे उस चीजों को किस तरीके से प्रेजेंट करने की कोशिश की, क्योंकि वो उस टाइम पावर में थे। जब आम लोग पावर में आए या वहाँ के लोगों को जब आज़ादी मिली, तो दोबारा उन्होंने इस वहाँ पे जो वर्क पैदा हुआ, तो उन्होंने इस पावर बाइनरी को, ये जो ना ये भी बाइनरी है जिसको हम कहते हैं कि द कलोनाइजर एंड द कलोनाइज्ड, इनके जो आपस में रिलेशनशिप था, जो एक पावर का और जो वीकर का आपस में रिश्ता था, इस रिश्ते को कैसे देखा जाएगा। We will just understand that work with the help of post-colonial criticism. And there's a feminist criticism. Feminist criticism takes that the disparity between male and female. Okay, as we talked about the disparity between rich and poor, which is very closer to Marxist criticism. As Marxist criticism says that the difference between rich and poor is not a natural difference, but it is a historical difference, and it's a social difference. Okay, so is the case with the feminist criticism, that feminism goes with the difference between the male and female, and they believe that how this uh, means the difference between they say that men and women are natural, but male and female are cultural. They are product of culture, and how the females have been culturally marginalized, in the patriarchal societies, how patriarchal norms, they just limit or confine their independence and their share in education and in share in property, share in a job and share in independence, and their independence and their will, their choice, and their decisions. That all areas are also taken up in the criticism of feminism criticism. There are gender studies and queer studies. Okay, these are further going to talk about these now especially in Europe, when we are going to talk about this gays and lesbians and others, their rights and their relationship. Okay, so the simple criticism that begin with this simple concept. Okay, and initially it took certain canons and rules to look at a certain literature. जिस तरीके से अरस्तु ने जो पोएटिक्स किताब लिखी थी, जिसको हम क्रिटिसिज्म का बाइबल समझते हैं, उसने उस जमाने में जो भी ड्रामे लिखे जा रहे थे, जब मिसाल के तौर पे जो यूरिपिडीज था या सोफोक्लिस जो था या स्काइलस जो थे, उनके जो लिखे हुए ड्रामे थे, उनके की बुनियाद पर उसने ट्रेजेडी की डेफिनेशन दी थी। हीरो क्या होता है और ट्रेजेडी क्या होती है, ट्रेजिक फ्लॉ क्या होता है, हेमरशा क्या होता है, या जो है वो प्लॉट क्या होता है, कॉम्प्लेक्स प्लॉट क्या होता है। तो इस तरह के कॉन्सेप्ट, उस तरह के जो हमने रूल्स बनाए थे आगे चल के, वो फिर आस्ता आस्ता हम रूल्स और कैडेंस से होते हुए हम थियरीज पे पहुंचे। तो ये एक सिंपल जो क्लास रिकॉर्ड की गई है, दैट्स फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ पार्ट 1, टू मेक देम फेमिलियर विद द concepts of this criticism. And I hope that you would learn with the help of this documents and presentation. Thank you very much. Love this. Bye.